Impact Church. Hope you guys are doing well. Change the scenery a little bit. I'm actually in my son Caleb's room tonight, and for a purpose. I wanted to just share in our 30-day challenge of Thankfulness Turns the Tide. I want to share tonight about, in a sense, spiritual sons and daughters, but the flip side of that is being coaches and mentors and cheerleaders for people that are tracking with you, and the influence that coaches and cheerleaders and mentors have in people's lives. I am completely blessed and overwhelmed by the people that God has strategically placed in my life. He has been faithful in providing amazing people, and I'm going to actually talk to you a little bit about these different people that have come into my life, some that are unfortunately no longer living, and kind of the influence and the effect that they've had on my life, in hopes of inspiring you to mentor and coach others into godliness and integrity and a devotion to God. So when I was born, first person that held me is the first person that has mentored me for the majority of my life is my mom. And she has taught me unconditional love. She has taught me grace and mercy. She has taught me compassion. And she is, without a doubt, the number one spiritual influence in my life. So I just want to say thank you, Mom. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the different people that have had influence in my life. And if I get a little teary-eyed, I'm sorry, because these people have had a profound effect on my life. Not just as a father, a husband, as a pastor, but as somebody that wants to love Jesus and live for Jesus my whole life. And so at the age of 13, I joined my first youth group. And Pastor Dave Andrews was my youth pastor for almost my entire youth ministry days. And he was amazing. Dave and Sue Andrews have touched my life and reminded me at a very young age that your relationship with God can be real, that it doesn't have to be religious, that God is a real God that wants a real relationship with you. And I'm just so grateful for Dave Andrews in investing in my life, opening up doors of opportunity for outreach, which has been a staple of my life since my teenage years, when we did Stop 46 down in the south end of Oshawa every Thursday night. And so I'm just grateful for that opportunity. At 15 years of age, I had the privilege of serving, in a sense, working my first job as a counselor at King's Kids Day Camp at King Street Pentecostal Church. And my director was Sherilyn Wayne, who's now Sherilyn Orr, and who was a missionary from Africa, and if I remember correctly, from Malawi, and who used to make fun of me all the time about my paranoia with ever going to Africa on a missions trip or the size of the bugs. She loved me so much. One of the times she was actually over in Africa, she sent me a giant African cockroach by mail to my house. It was like this big. It was huge, like the size of a little child's hand. It was huge. And but I'm grateful for Sherilyn because she saw something in me that no one else saw. She saw a personality that was so locked up in shyness and in an introvert kind of way, but she literally dragged my personality out of me. And in connection with Sherilyn was my first pastoral mentor, Hervey Shank, who unfortunately passed away approximately 15 years ago of a heart condition. But Hervey Shank has marked my life. Hervey Shank took me under his wing. Hervey Shank saw something in me that no one else saw. He actually got me involved in puppet ministry. He got me involved in kids ministry. I was doing a whole pile of different things. I was involved in going on the road with him and his wife to do vacation Bible schools, to do these weekend events at churches. I used to play all of these different puppet roles, including Sammy, who was my favorite, and this old character called Gramps, who was literally a 6-foot-high puppet inside a wheelchair, and I had to hide behind him. We actually rigged the wheelchair to fit me in behind it and be able to utilize that with our kids programming. At 22 years of age, there was a a new pastor that came to King Street Pentecostal Church. His name was Jeff Shiplett. And he did something that absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. One of the first things that he did is he made the decision to shut down services, all the extra stuff at the church, and open up the doors of the church every night at 7 o'clock to seek the Lord and to believe God for a spiritual awakening in our church family. That was the first time in my life I experienced the overwhelming power of the Holy Spirit, the infilling of the Holy Spirit, the laughter of the Holy Spirit, the joy of the Holy Spirit. And I want to thank Pastor Jeff for, and again, he's gone way too soon. He died many, many years ago of complications from brain cancer. And I'm just heartbroken for that, but grateful for his courageous boldness to shake up that church and invite the presence of God, which transformed my life, and also grateful for his personal mentorship. In the midst of this whole journey at King Street Pentecostal Church, my spiritual dad showed up on the scene. His name's Bob McLean, retired GM worker who's still in Oshawa, been there pretty much his whole life, and has marked me. He's marked my life. He taught me how to be a husband. He taught me how to be a father. He taught me how to love Jesus. He taught me how to be devoted to Christ and to his word. He would kick me in the rear end when I was complaining. And his response all the time was, son, it's just a test. It's just a test. And at one point I thought to myself, if I hear just a test one more time, I gotta lose my marbles on this man. But that probably wouldn't be good. But mentors have a way of inspiring you beyond where you're at. Bob McLean has done that. Bob McLean lit a fire under me that has never gone out. It's never been quenched in the almost 25 years since I first met him. So I want you to understand, church, God is calling you to step into roles of being a cheerleader, a mentor, and a coach for others. I want to fast forward a couple years to 25 years of age. Had the privilege at 25 of showing up at this little inner city church in downtown Oshawa called Oshawa Community Church. And Pastor Frank and Christine Satius not only took me under their wing, but still to this day blown away by the level of responsibility and trust that they gave not only myself, but Sandra, and spoke life into my ministry call and spoke life into my my gifts and the abilities that were on my life. But at the same time pushed me. And at the same time pushed me because they saw something greater. And it was because of that that we're in Kingston today. It's because of that that we are pastoring an incredible church in Kingston, Ontario called Impact. I want to fast forward a couple more years. And in the midst of a very interesting season in my life, where God was doing all of these amazing things, God has blessed me with ministry friendships that have inspired me to this day. Gary Hayes is one that it doesn't matter what time I call, it doesn't matter what conversations we have over the last number of years, he just seems to have a word in season for me. Always knows what to say, always knows how to inspire me, and at the same time, how to help me see the truth and the reality of situations, not through my lens, but through God's lens. So I'm incredibly grateful for all of the men and the women that God has brought into my life. Here's what I want you to do tonight, church. Before you head to bed, I want you to text or email or video chat with somebody that has been a mentor, a coach, and a cheerleader for you. And I want you to send them a note of encouragement to say thank you. But here's the second thing I want you to do. I want you to notice who God's brought into your life, that God is asking you to mentor, to cheerlead, and to encourage. And I want you to send them a note, inspiring them to be all that they can be in Jesus Christ. I hope you are blessed tonight. Miss you and can't wait to be with you, church. Have an awesome night.